Moly.
I think I'm just my...
Attach one down to my leader and give my leader and characters plus 1000 power.
Oh my god.
Hello everybody, it is Wizaldo or Wesley, and today I am playing some Elbaph Sabo, a deck that I've been working on for the past couple of days that I think feels really fun. Currently we don't really know what the OP17 meta is going to be looking like, so I have no clue whether or not this deck will be good, but I am having a blast playing it. It definitely looks like it has a couple bad matchups, and it is another dice roll reliant deck, but it feels great to play. Honestly, I like this version a lot more than the Straw Hat Sabo build, because it's a little bit more consistent and it doesn't feel like you are getting punished for playing the game, much like the Straw Hat Sabo occasionally feels like. But into the list, you do run some of the core cards from the Elbaph Sabo, mainly the 2K Brook and the Pirate Docking 6. Though I've cut down on the Pirate Docking 6 because it is not a card that really enables your deck to run at its maximum potential. In the place of the other two, I have ran the 7-cost Luffy. This, when it comes out, is typically going to be a 7-cost 9k that enables all of your Elbaph characters, which is one of the reasons why I ran it. You'll also notice, if you compare this to other lists, I don't run the red Nami that searches for Straw Hat Crew type characters, because you are mainly looking for the Saul and Loki to enable your deck, and I want to be able to draw into them with things like Nami, Sanji, and Usopp early game, rather than playing the Nami and searching past them and missing kind of the immediate play and time framed for when you want to play one of these Sauls or the Lokis, and at last resort this Luffy to enable your little itty bitty babies to be swinging. So the total deck list, I'll run through it really quick. You're gonna run 4 2K Brook, 4 of the Unblockable Chopper, 4 of the Trash 1 Draw 2 Nami, 4 of the Usopp for searching, probably one of the best cards in the deck right now. 3 of the Sanji. I cut this down. It is one of the cards that you can play immediately and on at any point in the game, and it's going to be good. But I think the Nico Robin is one of the strongest cards in the deck that you're going to run 4 of in. You're going to run 3 of the Brook. I think it's a good card. It's a good later to drop body, so I wanted it at 3 rather than 4. 4 Zoro, really helping for that ace matchup, but it does have a little bit of anti-synergy with this Luffy, just a heads up. 4 of this Saul, because it is one of the cards that turns on your leader. 2 of this Pirate Docking 6. It's a really nice swing and a really good backup for keeping your leader ability online to stay healthy, but it is not one of the cards that enables your little weenies to swing, which is one of the reasons why I don't want it at 4 like a lot of other people do. 4 Loki. In this deck and this meta, I think it's a really great way to just pop a 4-cost, or like in Kaido, pop one of their blockers and their queen. 2 of this Luffy is like a backup option for if you do not get these on the field, the giants, or if they are getting removed really consistently. 4 of the Luffy, because it does play out one of the weenies, including this Brook. 2 Bad Manners Kick Course, because you do run a ton of bricks in the deck, and it just feels like you brick a little bit too much sometimes, so use these to turn those cards into counter. And then 2 Gum Gum Kong Pistols for some more removal. This is more of a mid-range deck build for this. It is not as aggro. You can go for some board control, or you can go to play aggro depending on who you are playing into. For example, if you were playing into the mirror match, you'd want to focus on clearing their board with the Robin, the King Kong Pistol, and the Luffy's, just to play out like a wider board. But if you're playing into something like Kaido, you'd be able to switch to being able to play really aggressively with your little weenies and dropping a Saul early. That's my deck building goal for this, at least. I think this is going to be a really good mid-range deck. It's going to lean a little bit more towards aggro, granted, but I think there is a lot of mid-range potential for this deck. So I think you can walk a really nice line between mid-range and aggro. So I wanted to build it like that. This Gum Gum Kong Pistol is a card that I hadn't tested a ton, but you'll be seeing some testing today with it, so maybe by the end of the video it will change. But if you are just here for the deck list, that is it. Typically you want to take second, and it is a little bit of a dice roll reliant deck. But if you are just here for that kind of overview, thank you for watching. Make sure to let me know what you think of the deck. Comments, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. But if you are going to stick around for the gameplay, I'll get onto that now. All right, we're playing into a Kaido. This is one of the better matchups, I think. And this is one of the weird matchups too. I know you want to typically go second, but this is one of the matchups where you have a better win rate going first. Now, we do see an opening Saul, but we don't see an early play, so I'm going to mulligan this and try and look for one. See Sanji and Usopp. I think I'm going to go Usopp, and then if I don't see a Saul, play Sanji the turn after, and hopefully just go at face. I think one of the reasons that the Kaido matchup is pretty good for Sabo going first is because you can just continuously smack face. Gonna grab the Brook here, I think, and then just hit face. Hopefully we can draw into a Saul next turn. That way I can go for 6/6 and play a little bit more aggressively. But right now I just want to kind of build up my trash if I have to in order to get this Luffy out on my 7-Don turn, or just plan to play around the bigger bodies. I think Kaido has a lot more late game strength than Sabo, which is one of the reasons why you might struggle into it a bit. All right, we're gonna go this Nami, pitching a Brook to try and draw into some stuff. We don't draw into anything, so we're gonna just kind of go wide at this point. I'm going to trash another Sanji, and a Pirate Docking 6 is an option. It does let me fill up my trash, but I think I need to hold on to some cards. I could trash this Luffy, but I have no way to get it back, so I think I'm gonna trash the Pirate Docking 6. I'll trash Nami, or play Nami, trashing the Robin. And so we get our big play for next turn. Unfortunately, we didn't get like a Sanji out. This Nami does let me draw some more cards, but it doesn't turn into a swing later. So maybe playing the Sanji instead of the Nami would have been a better play there. But next turn I can drop the Loki, clear the Queen. If they play a Yamato, for example, as a blocker, I can then clear the Yamato as well, hopefully. But next turn they do go to 7, so they probably just drop the King and ramp. And if that happens, then I need to think about my swings pretty intuitively, because they do have that -2. So if I'm not playing huge characters, then I'm not hitting them as hard. I do think one of the reasons that Sabo has been so prevalent and strong with the release of OP17, at least on the sim, is because it does reward you for playing the deck naturally, and it's a fundamental that it rewards. It's not swinging with your characters until you get maximum value with them. And my opponent does disconnect. I will talk a little bit more about the deck then later. I think it's because they didn't hit. No, they had their King, but I guess I do hit really aggressively after this. I'll play some more, but what I was trying to say is there's this concept of waiting to swing until you get good value, and catching in on kind of having Don open. And I think having these characters that turn into 6Ks on your opponent's turn really does reward that as well, because after you play your first giant, if you have 2 of these out and they can't clear them, then you're swinging a couple of 8s, and that's going to be really impactful into some of these decks that like to go really late game into the current meta. I think Shanks is the only one that doesn't, and well, this is a leader based deck too, so, and it goes wide. So anyways, I'll play another game, of course, and talk a little bit more about the deck as we go. All right, playing into a Kaido again, just because I wanted to get some Kaido gaming. Hopefully they take second, thinking that Sabo wants to go second. Okay, they're gonna go first. I can grab a Nami, trash the Brook with this hand, and then play the Loki on curve if I want. I think I'm gonna keep this. I don't think it's a great keep, but I do see some decent resources for this game. I'm gonna grab a Queen that I can play next turn. I can also just start with the Sanji. That's not a bad idea either. I'm gonna get rid of a Nami and the Brook because we have a pretty strong hand if I do that. Next turn I can pitch the Nami, or use the Nami to pitch the Luffy maybe. I don't want to pitch the Luffy that aggressively, but it might just be something that has to happen. All right, and they can ramp with the Queen, which is good for them. Next turn they go to 6 and can just drop the King. Ooh, nice, and we see a Saul. And I'm gonna grab a Brook off of the Saul. The Brook is gonna be really good in this matchup to get rid of their important stuff. And I'm gonna go 5. Ooh, I should not have gone 5 here actually, because they do have that leader effect. But if they do leader effect, they do not get to play their King this turn. So I guess that wasn't totally throwing, but it felt bad in the moment. So we'll have to see what they play this turn and how they play it. Next turn they go to 6, and I think I just go wide. I don't have a ton of things I can play, so hopefully we can draw into something. Worst case, I could play the Loki, and if they just play a ramp card like Yamato, I could play that and clear, and just wait to go to 5 and swing. I think the Kaido matchup is going to be a little bit more dice roll reliant once the Kaido learn the matchup. Leader has, okay, so they can ramp here. I can then play stuff to clear that, but I don't really think that's going to be as impactful as I think. So I think Brook here is going to be the right play, and just swing at face and plan on protecting the Saul maybe, or maybe I don't even swing with the Saul, wait until I can get a Loki down. But I wouldn't be surprised if they just swing into my Sanji with the rest of it on. They don't have a ton of good 4-cost plays. Yeah, they're going to swing into the Sanji. I'm going to let that go. I don't really have anything I can do there. I go to 6. Nami could come down and do something for me, but I don't think so. Do I want to just cash in on swinging with my characters, or I could technically play the Loki here. I think playing the Loki isn't a really bad idea, but it doesn't really develop me an aggressive board like I need. Maybe I'll start with this and trash the Rush Luffy, and nice. And now I can kind of develop a better board. My opponent is I'm gonna force them to trash a card. Then I can play the Sanji, then I can swing. And then I'm thinking I'm safe to swing with the Sol here because I have a Loki to play next turn that can actually clear stuff. I'll deploy this. I can get rid of the Sol here because I think Loki is gonna come out after this. And the Nightmare Luffy, because I already have one in hand. They can go 6 and then 7 at my opponent. They'll probably counter out of the 7 by using leader effects, but they don't have a ton of cards in hand, so that's gonna punish them if they do. Okay, nice. So they do take that. I get them down to 3. Next turn, I should be able to cash in a bit on playing a little bit more aggressively. This turn, they can play like I believe the heal, the lead performer's heal is a 9 cost, so they could do that. And then they might try and clear my Sol. I could protect my Sol here if they do that, because if they do, it'll be a 5 into a 5, and I could just give like a Robin here, and they don't have anything I'd want to clear with the Robin. I do have a lot of 2Ks in hand, but I am a 6K leader, so that does make a little bit more sense. I would love for them to swing into my life and get me to actually being my 6K leader. I think starving the Sabo in the Kaido matchup might be a way to go, just because you do have so much like stall with the whole okay, they're gonna prevent me from attacking with the queens and with the lead performers and all that, and I have no way to really reliably clear the queen here, so I'm going to use the Nico Robin to make sure I don't die here or lose that, and I think I just drop the Loki and swing, clearing the queen and the Basil. The Basil doesn't really matter, but I can go 2 7s at my opponent. And they definitely counter out of this one, but they go down to 6 if they do, which, okay, and they're gonna just use the cards out of hand, which is better for me, because I need to play aggressively. The queen is gonna hurt here. I think I might just have to take it because it is a 10 out of 5, and it's kind of throwing at this point to try and protect it. I can play the Luffy next turn. I'm gonna heal here, which does make sense. Do they pop it? I don't think so. I don't think that would really benefit my opponent. I think if they swing into the Sol, I do protect it. If they swing leader into Sol, I protect it. If they swing queen into my life or into the Sol, I just let it go. Yeah, I'm gonna protect it because this way I also kind of stall the game out by letting that 10k swing into there. Nice. And we see this Luffy. This Luffy is actually gonna be super clutch here. I can go deploy this, play this out, and make this a 7, and then swing a 9 into it. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the move here. Attach it on here. I'll swing a 9 into his 7. That's 2 cards from hand, and or leader effects. Yeah, I think that's a really clutch play, and they're gonna concede. I think being able to do that, it was probably one of the best plays. That top deck was kind of insane. I was at 4 life though. I think I might undervalue this Luffy a little bit. I find myself pitching it with Nami pretty often, but I might just want to be focusing on pitching the Brooks and stuff like that. But that's the Kaido matchup. You kind of just like control their big bodies with your big bodies, and then hope that they don't get their lead performers out and Kaido's out super early. I think one of the things that I did well that game was putting them in positions where they were either forced to go down early or use up their Dawn, so they couldn't like not go down early. I just forced my opponent to be put into a really rough spot. Anyways, I'm gonna do one more game, I believe, for this video. Maybe 2 if it's looking pretty short. All right, playing into the mirror. The opponent's going first, so I probably want to play around just like playing more aggressively, or like playing more defensively, I guess. Sorry, playing more defensively. So I'm gonna mulligan, try and get some defensive options. I see an Usopp, which is nice to start out with. That way I can maybe search into a Sol. They're gonna play the Nami build, which is fine for me. They grab a Brook, and I can see a Sol early. That's pretty nice. Next turn, I can swing into their leader because we're both 4Ks. And I'm gonna try and go kind of low early. Maybe playing this Luffy and playing around that is gonna be my best bet. I'll go 4 at them. Then I will deploy this, grab a Rush Luffy because I think the Rush Luffy is gonna let me switch to being a little bit more aggressive. And I can go 5 at them. They're gonna go up to 5 after this. But my characters are turned on now and theirs aren't. They might play this Sol. Yeah, they got their own Sol, but they have like 2 7s to send at me, and it's like, okay, whatever, I'm a 4 right now, I don't really care. All right, now it's when it gets kind of interesting. I think I have to get a ton out onto the board. I'll grab another one of these to play later, and then I will play out a Sanji. I will trash a Brook and a Sol, I think, because one of these is popping out later, guaranteed. I can go like 7 8, or I could play a Nami and see what that can get me. I'll see what this can develop me trashing off a Sanji. Maybe not too bad, but definitely not probably what I wanted. I'll go 7-7, or I could also clear the Sanji and play a little bit more defensively that way. I think that's going to be the best bet. I don't really care if they get cards in hand. I'm going to go 7. I have a 2K. I don't have a lot of 2Ks, which is kind of rough. All right, and they're going to clear my board. They're going to play defensively now. I think I'm going to give them 1K for that, and then 2K, or another 1K for this. I think I want to play the Nico Robin, but I could play the Luffy this next turn. That doesn't develop me too much. I'll give it 2K for this. I think I need to play the Robin and like Robin and then play this. Do I have another Robin in trash? It would be nice if I did. Not sorted. It won't let me sort it for some reason. I could play an Usopp. I am kind of bricked right now, so I think the Sanji is going to be a better play. Probably get rid of the King Kong pistol or Gum Gum Kong pistol. Yeah, I think Sanji is going to be the play here. Get rid of a Loki, get rid of the Kong pistol. I can go 7 into 4 and then 7 into 6. Then I can pass. Next turn, I think I just start dropping the Luffy over and over again until I can kill my opponent. They're gonna start doing the same thing to me, but they might clear my board, it looks like. And I think I might have to just let this go and play around this Luffy next. I'm at 19 cards, so I'm probably not totally screwed here. I'm gonna use this trigger to reduce the Luffy, so it's a 6, and I can just give a 1K, although it is gonna be a 2K, but that's less than before. All right, drop this Luffy. I'll become an 8K, and I can now like just still play aggressively. I'm pretty bricked right now, which is a little scary. I think I need to cash in on swings. This is a 3, I can only get it up to a 5. I can go 8, 6, 6, 9. And then next turn I can start dropping these, just because I will be going up to an 8 now, and it's gonna be harder for them to hit me with their stuff. They could drop a Loki and clear my board. Unfortunately, I didn't see the Loki before they did, which does hurt me a little bit. They're gonna play Sanji, filter out their hand. I'm hoping they're as bricked as I am, which would benefit me. Okay, and they're gonna clear my 2 little ones, it looks like. And then maybe try and clear my docking 6. And then they have 2 9s, and I have 2 2Ks that I can use to get out of that. I think I counter out of this one. I'll counter out of both, honestly. I'm gonna play the Luffy and use the Luffy to play. I don't think I win this turn, and I don't think there's anything that lets me play super aggressively. So maybe I just want to filter my hand. Play this to filter. I'll get rid of a Loki and a Saul, and then I will go 7, 9, and a 10. Or I could also just clear this now. I think that's not a bad move. I think I just got all the counter from their hand, and now I can just play defensively and not let them go for game. They'd have to clear this Luffy, which they can only get down to a 7, and I have some counter in hand. If they do end up clearing this Luffy, I could be a little bit screwed because I have no way to kind of bounce back from it. But as long as they don't clear this second Luffy, I think I can go for game. Okay, I think they're kind of screwed at this point. Okay, maybe not. I'll give a 1K here. I'll give, they got it, unfortunately. I'll give it 2K, yeah, no, I'll start taking, see if I can get something and change my game plan. And then I will counter out of this one. Oh, this is getting the bonus effect because of his board, which means I'll get the bonus effect for this because of his board as well. I will play out a Brook because they have like no cards in hand. See what they trash. Okay, they're gonna trash a Saul, which is fine. I can go 6-6, get the last 2 cards, and then guarantee game. 9 into 6, I can do that. They have no more Dawn up, and I have an extra swing. That's game. Just a little bit of a explanation on how the mirror works. You do get the benefit of your opponent having the 12Ks, so you don't have to play around it as much as like what I did with Kaido, but it is something to think about. I'm gonna do a little bit of a deck reflection now. Sorry if this video is a little bit short. I've been testing out this deck a lot, and unfortunately I should have recorded before, but onto the deck reflection now. All right, welcome to the deck reflection. Is this the best list that this Sabo is going to be? I have no clue. I understand why a lot of people are drawn to running the 1-cost Searcher Nami that searches out Straw Hat Crew, because it does hit this Luffy, which I think is really vital to the game plan. I think if you are not valuing this Luffy, you are playing the deck wrong. I think this Luffy is honestly more important than this Loki, more important than Pirate Docking 6, because it is such an impactful play to immediately get like a 9K swing in, as long as you have a 12K out on the board, or in the mirror as long as there is a 12K. I don't see myself using this chopper as much. So maybe you go down to like 3 and 3. And if you want to bump up this Luffy, you could play a different 2K. In one of my more mill-based builds, I was playing Spoil, which trashes the top 3 cards from your deck. And then if you have 15 cards in your deck, you get to, or 15 cards in your trash, you get to attach a Don for free, which felt pretty impactful, especially when going second, because on your 6th Don turn, if you managed to get to 15 cards in trash, which I think there isn't really a way to do that. You have to hit like Usopp into Saul, which only gets 4 cards in trash and then counters super aggressively. But if you like are making a 10 down play and you have one of these out on like Luffy plus a Brook or Luffy plus a Robin and playing out a Robin off of the Luffy to clear something, this Spoils is going to feel really good to play out. I also saw some early Elbaph Luffy lists running the one-legged soldier to help clear things with Loki a little bit more. That I think is a pretty expensive play. But yeah, I'm going to leave the deck list as it is now. I am thinking about things that I would want to run instead of this Chopper. One thing I will point out that is going to be possibly better than the Chopper is the... Where is he? This Sanji could be good because it lets you target the Power Docking 6 and the... I mean, it lets you target everything, but without the requirement of there being a 12 cost on the board. And as you saw, if it's just the Saul you're seeing, which is a little bit of a tongue twister, Saul, it's harder to get this effect offline or online. So you could maybe cut down on 2 of these and run 2 and 2. I don't think that's the best play. Koala is also a playable character, but it's like kind of worse than Robin in like a lot of ways. This Roto unfortunately doesn't work in the deck, much like the other 2K for Elbaph, which is one of the reasons I'm not running it. I think those would like actually enable this deck super, super well. I think it would be probably one of the best cards, best decks in the format. If this Gird and this Roto worked in it, then you just automatically like drop the Brook, run the Gird, I think. But I do think the deck does have a lot of potential. I don't know if it is going to be a super meta deck, but I am very comfortable saying that I'm going to 100% continue playing this into the OP17 meta, whether that's at a more casual level or at a competitive level. So if you do want to see more of this Elbaph, Sabo doesn't work. This isn't it. Elbow, Elbaph, Bow, El Sabo deck, let me know. Leave a comment, like all that good stuff that YouTube loves. Make sure to like, subscribe if you want to see more of my content. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I do hope to see you in the next one.